put DPS on everything.
No, fuck off.
A sofa.
When I touch a sofa, I don't want my finger to
with
get sucked
anything like
into its fucking bosom, alright?
What's the problem with VR games now? Frost.
Wait, no, go to Snow first.
Okay.
I want to hear his immediate answer.
No.
And any VR games that you've
It's a really
played,
hard question.
like from the VR games that you played,
I mean, I can't
what's wrong with them?
specify any VR games.
Anything, not you don't have to
Okay,
specify
what
one.
VR games have you played, Snow? I want to know.
There's
Outside
no
of VR chat,
cross
obviously.
thing.
No what?
There's no cross thing. Like, for example,
Crosshair,
VR games
crosshair.
now these days. No,
Is that
no,
what he's
not
talking about?
crosshair. I
Oh,
mean,
that's
like, imagine Walking Dead, the VR game, right?
Yeah.
And then
Yes.
Zenith MMO, the bullshit game, and then VR
Yes.
chat.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
those three, I wanted to combine together, but it's like a one thing.
That's not the bloody question. That's not the fucking question, Snow. That's
know
not
what's
the
the
fucking
Okay, wait.
question, Snow.
How about this? What's wrong? What's wrong with that? What's it called? The zombie game, like as a VR game.
No multiplayer. I mean, after the fall, I played it. It's like a Left 4 Dead zombie game, but it's
Oh man, I played
trash
it
in
too.
a way.
It's not
It's
great.
trash.
Okay.
For me, it's trash. I don't really like it. Like, I reach I got all the attachments. I got all the secrets. My money is like out of order. I don't have the use for the money anymore. And what can I do is just go to random lobbies and the arcade machine and just random lobby. Okay, sure, we do that. Okay, that's the equipment that I
Okay.
already got. Legendary.
But-
okay, whatever.
but,
it's just
Okay,
Left
to
4 Dead.
put that into words that human beings understand, what Snow means is that he thinks that game lacks an end game, and there's no end game content after you have everything, right? For example, in a game like Destiny 2, the end game content is the raids, right? With a weekly reward drop that you have to grind for, and there's RNG content, which gives you a lot of playtime. And in, for example, other MMOs, it's the raid content. What's the end game content in Left 4 Dead? I don't know.
After the fall.
Left 4 Dead. Well, what's the end game equivalent? What's the end game content in Left 4 Dead?
I think it's the workshop. Like, people add a lot of maps
Okay,
to
okay.
it. Like, if it's like
Fair,
Left 4
fair.
Dead.
So like mods
Yeah.
carry Left 4 Dead
Yeah.
2 or whatever. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
mods. Mods is the one carrying the workshop thing. The game.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, my brain. Holy fuck.
No, it's alright. I'm aware of that issue. We can sort that. We can take it out.
Okay. Okay. That's what's okay. You played
Mhm.
that zombie game. You played VR chat. What's the third game you played? You mentioned.
It's called Zenith MMO.
Oh, okay.
It's
What's wrong with that one?
I really wanted that game.
It's good when it first launched. For like a couple of months, and there's a copycat of that game came over, and then the data leaked, and then it said, "Hey, our players' data might leak to other game that have like copycat of the game." So literally everyone stopped playing it. Everyone that I know, including me, because of the data leaked. Because you have to put your real
Snow,
name.
you
and
use a
this,
Facebook
this,
headset.
and this, yeah. Yeah, my Facebook is.
Data privacy is
I'm
not a
during the
concern.
time
What
I'm
do you
using
mean?
the personal. I'm using the. I mean, I don't know. Okay, they mentioned data leaks, so I'm not gonna take.
No.
Plus that game,
Like, data privacy concerns are serious. I agree with that. I'm mostly kidding about the Facebook thing.
Yeah. What I don't like about the game is, I mean, the mechanics, I like it. Everything, I like it. the flying system where you go like this, you fly, you hover, not fly, just glide. Overall, this I don't know. I don't know really. It's really hard to.
Why did you stop playing?
Because
it?
I haven't played the game.
It's really hard to formulate sentences. No, I agree. Very difficult.
The graphics mostly.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really hard to form a
Looks shit.
sentence.
Okay, so
Kind of shy
The
looking. Yeah.
graphics.
so from what I understood,
Let me help you a little bit.
yeah.
Would you say Zenith has a lot of endgame content? Like once you have the best gear, once you're max level, would you say there's enough content to carry the game forwards, or do you think there's a lack of content? I've not played it for reference.
I played it. I haven't played until finish, obviously, but I played until the mid part,
I see.
the mid of the map, like only 40% of the game, to be honest. Because it's a grindy game, like MMORPG
Yeah, it's an
VR,
MMO.
VR MMORPG. But
Okay.
yeah, I can't really say much about that.
Okay, so I guess what you hate about VR games right now, from what I understood from you, is lack of content or lack of a system in place to produce continued content over a long period of time, and the graphics are shit.
Okay, I do want to preface this, right? He has the 3050. Part of that is his fault.
No, but I mean, even if you have good PC, like a good setup, like some games do, like VR
Okay,
games.
if you have if you have a good PC, you'd be able to run games that are higher visual fidelity, right? I agree that Zenith, graphically speaking, is a little challenged. I agree with that. But like, Alex and stuff looks pretty good to me.
Yeah,
So
yeah. But I guess the point is there's not enough of Alex type graphics, I guess.
there's not enough of that quality of I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay. Your turn, Snow. What do you don't like about VR games right now?
Snow, go again. Fantastic.
Go again?
Well, you asked Snow.
You said
I did, and he
you
answered.
said snow. You said snow. Right?
Oh, I did.
No.
Oh,
You said now it's your turn, Snow.
oh, okay.
What's your opinion? You turn to me.
Okay, look, it's night for me too. Don't
Uh,
Frosty.
It's alright.
So I'm going to give you a nuanced answer because there are no simple answers in the world. I think for me personally speaking, I think it's twofold. It's two things that I think VR games lack. One, it's interaction, right? So a good example of this is even Boneworks. There's a lot of physics interactions, but there aren't enough like gun mechanic or gun interactions for me to feel truly immersed, right? So an example of a game that does this really well is Into the Radius, right? You have gun cleaning mechanics, you have magazine mechanics, you have magazine retention, you have gun wear, right? These sort of little tiny things, being able to insert bullets into your magazine one by one, right? I think these little tiny things that don't really matter helps build that immersion significantly, right?
Yeah.
That is so part of that is also having collision with everything. So gun collision with like scenery, with other people. I think that's super important for truly immersive VR games. And I agree that that's probably only going to be limited to single player titles given our compute powers right now.
Yeah.
The second issue I have is pretty much the same as Snow. I think a lot of these games don't really have endgame content. Once you've beaten the game once, or once you've gotten to the highest level, there's really not that much content. And part of that is because not enough people are playing VR games, and so companies don't invest enough money, which leads to my second point, which is not a personal issue, but I think it's a market issue with VR games in general,
Yeah.
where the majority of VR games are too hard. And what do I mean by that? I mean it's too hard for the non-gamer or even the traditional core gamer or even the mobile gamer to pick up a VR game and truly excel, right? Because like physically aiming for stuff, physically chopping up your enemies, right, is mechanically, right, from a sort of macro motion perspective, much more difficult than it is to like click the A button or like dodge roll by hitting B,
Yeah.
right? So I think VR games are definitely more difficult than traditional games in terms of achieving the same level of performance or the same level of proficiency that a person might have, and you need a significant time investment, which is not necessarily easy given how uncomfortable VR can be and how cost prohibitive it is, which is why I think it's sort of chicken and egg situation, right? These games are too difficult, but for the mass market. But for me to feel like these games, but for a personal issue, right? I want these games to become more difficult, right? Because that immersion factor for me of like individually reloading bullets into a magazine, retention reloading, physical collisions with stuff, that's actually a barrier to entry, right? Because obviously doing that or retaining your magazines and stuff is something we're not used to. But I think the immersion loss of not doing that is not worth the. It's tough because I think we just need two types of VR games, I think. And I really think the games that I would want to play will never truly be the same types of games that will get VR popular. And I think the games that will get VR popular will have to be the simpler games, right? So your Beat Sabers, your Pistol Whips, right? And it won't be the Alexes of the world, it won't be the Boneworks or Bone Labs, it won't be the Into the Radius games, which I'm very disappointed by because I love those games. But I think VR games as a whole need to become more consumer accessible, more easily accessible to the vast majority of people. And for reference, I don't think vrchat is an easy game to play. And what do I mean by that? Being not a dickhead is hard for some people, you know? And you have issues like social anxiety, and vrchat is progressively, it's become significantly more difficult to break into the cool friend circles in vrchat because of how toxic the public lobbies have become, mostly because of the influx of cheap headsets and children, right? I'm gonna fucking take control of this topic for a second and say, don't fucking give a VR headset to your kids. Holy shit. All right.
See, cool.
Yeah. Well, I mean, okay. Yeah, that's kind of a topic we're gonna hop on about it in a bit. But yeah, it's. I get your point. I guess what developers would need to do in that case is, and I mean, money will always play into things, but in terms of assuming they get the money, what they would have to do is basically have like a 3-tier system where, this is like in a paradise in like an optimal sense. Like for example, Half-Life Alyx comes out, or Into the Radius. They have a beginner mode and an intermediate mode and a realistic mode.
No.
Why not?
No. Okay, the same reason that you don't have an easy mode in Elden Ring or Dark Souls.
No, but I know. But we do need like mass adoption, right? So, but while satisfying you.
Okay. Some games aren't made for everyone, and I think these games should remain difficult and should remain hard to a certain extent. But I think there should be more focus, maybe. I hate saying this because I love those difficult games, right? I love them to bits. But I think the industry should focus on easily accessible games for the vast majority of people in order to get VR truly out there.
In that case, Into the Radius stays hardcore as is, but they also make Into the Circle, which is like the casual version.
I mean, no. Okay. We're saying this, right? We call it Into the Circus, right? Because
Circus.
it's clowns and children. But yes, I agree.
Okay. Into the Radius devs, make Into the Circus, please. And release it on Quest. Okay, and my...
Into the Radius is playable on the Quest, by the way, which is the most impressive thing. Hey guys, if you don't own this game, you should buy this game. Into the Radius is fucking fantastic, alright?
Yeah.
Play it on PC, play it on Quest. If it comes out on Pico, buy it there as well. The dev requires... Fucking, he deserves all your money, and fucking... Yeah.
Yeah. In my case, in terms of... I guess my only... I guess I mentioned it earlier a bit, like with VR games, what's wrong with them right now, which is not having narrative-driven content like Half-Life Alyx. Or like Into the Raids, actually, I put it as like in a good category because there is a story, there is a narrative, there is... Oh, chug.
Sorry. Tis the season, man.
That's one issue. Just not enough actual content rather than mechanical content. Another issue I have is I want, I guess, more social, not necessarily social, but like a space for yourself kind of game where it's also, for example, I would definitely want a game in VR that's like The Sims, for example. And yeah, I don't play this, it's been a while. But what I mean by that is, I guess it's intertwined with what you said. There's not enough interactions that would make the world meaningful to you while you're in VR, and everything just feels plastic. Like for example, like in this world we're in, like sure there's like a nice chair and whatever, but I don't know, I want more interaction in the sense like there's a fire in front of us. It would be nice if there's some kind of reaction to it in terms of our like systems. What?
I'll be right back. I'm gonna go
Okay.
grab something. I'll be back.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
And
Okay.
and the
Okay.
Hong Kong man is away. and yeah, just generally speaking, everything still feels like look at them in the background. Everything still feels it's like a
mean
last gen game basically, because we're entering in this new generation. We're still in that phase where like click this button to do something, while VR like pushes you to move to do something. Thank you. Yeah, for example, yeah, you get this drink and you take a sip. Yeah, like more stuff like this, and in a sense where like you actually have to like your model holds it correctly and all of this fun stuff, and it doesn't float, you know. Stuff making sense and stuff having consequences, like clang. Cling.
Yeah, like everything
Cling,
you do
cling.
must have consequences.
Bottoms up. Happy holidays. Gulp, gulp.
Happy holidays. But yeah, what you were saying, I was thinking of like put DPS on everything, kind of like game.
No, fuck off.
Yeah, welcome back. No, listen. Like if you touch
No.
like a sofa or anything and it's like fluffy, your character
When I
looks
touch a
like,
sofa, I don't want my
No,
finger to
with
get
anime
sucked
like
into
that.
its fucking bosom, alright? That's not.
No, actually, you know,
No, it's dynamic penetration system, not fucking physics. It's DPS. It does one thing.
Okay, then look,
Puts PP into
I
hole.
mean,
we'll call it dynamic pushing system. I don't know.
yeah.
We'll just steal Apple's name because Apple's not using it anymore, right? No, don't actually sue us. Please don't sue us. We'll just call it 3D Touch.